If there's one thing I can't stand, it's the glorification of being busy. Something has happened within the past decade or so where people are obsessed with productivity. Everybody's got a morning routine. Everybody's got an optimal to-do list. Everybody feels like they've got to be hustling all the time. Now, to me, this is a sickness. This is part of what I always call the sickness of more. People think that being busy means being productive, or that being busy and productive also means you're doing things that you actually need to be doing. Guys, there's a lot of ways that you can be quote unquote productive or busy and end up nowhere because you're not doing anything that matters. Now, this won't be for everybody. I understand that. But I'm somebody that has never really done well with to-do lists. My days are often chaotic. Even if I have a general idea, things change in an instant. I might be checking email, or I might try to do that at a different part of the day and section things off, and no day ever really goes as planned. What else? Oftentimes I go to bed at night feeling like I didn't accomplish enough. Now, part of this is because I've listened, even passively, to all these people that continually, oh, this is what I'm doing, and now I accomplished this, and I've done all these things. And then part of that is my own perfectionism. And I realized finally that no matter what I try to do, whether it's establishing a better routine, getting into this deep work phenomenon, creating barriers, none of those things resonated, but one thing in particular has, and I've never shared it before, but today I'm going to walk through it. It's a different kind of list. And this is a list that really lines up with values more than it does all these little checkpoints. And the nice thing is your work stuff, any of your health goals, any of that can fit into this list. And you can build it out and make it as dynamic or complex as you want to. But this is the foundation of what I think really matters if you want to do work that's important and set you up in many different avenues of your life. Now, I've included the list here. It's really simple. I looked at areas of my life that are important to me that I address frequently. Now, success is a relative term, right? Like some people might not think that they've been financially successful until they've built some $10 million company. I'm not talking about long-term goals here. I'm talking about each and every day, guys. I look at these categories. So spousal, and that may not be relevant to you if you're not married, but you can look at it as any intimate relationship you may have. It's important for me at the end of the day, no matter what I got done with work or anything else, that I've done something to be a good spouse. That could mean, did I help with dishes? Did I help with something in the yard? Did I tell that person I love or appreciate them? Did I do anything? And there's gonna be some people that think that that's corny, but the reality is all this other productivity and deep work checklists that people make, that doesn't really matter if your relationships are shit, right? So that's something that's important to me. I have to do something every single day before I go to bed to maintain or improve upon that relationship. The next part is intellectual. Okay, the intellectual part of my list is, have I done something to improve my own capacity to think critically? Have I read maybe some pages in a book? Have I read a new research article? Did I try to produce something? I think a lot of times people think that learning is about intaking. I can't tell you the amount of morning routines I've heard of, oh, I listen to this podcast, or I listen to this audiobook, or I do this. Guys, teaching is the highest form of learning. So you have to do something that moves the needle in terms of your intellectual capacity, your ability to think critically every single day. And you have to put limits on this. I used to think that I'd read 6 to 10 research articles a day, or some people brag about reading a book a week. Quit worrying about those standards. Their life isn't yours. Just do something, no matter how small, each day to move that needle. The next piece for me is physical. It's real simple, right? There are people that take better care of their cars and their homes or apartments than they do their own bodies. The issue is, guys, you'll be able to trade those things out. You'll get a new place to live at some point in your lifetime. You'll end up driving a new car. You only get one body. Now, this is another area, and if you've followed me for a while, you know my story. I used to be obsessive about this. When I was 15, 16, I was hospitalized for a year of my life because I was so obsessed with the physical aspect. It was an outlet for me. And that's in previous videos. But the point is, what physical means now is, have I moved? That could be a 30-minute walk with my wife and the dogs. That could be a formal workout. That could be 2 hours in the weight room. That could be something that if I'm flying internationally, I make sure and do a certain amount of laps for time around the airport. It's not being fanatical about all those things. It's just about making sure, have you done something to address the body you have that day? And again, I think that sometimes people can think that this stuff is too broad, but I actually think that there's power in doing the small things savagely well consistently over time, right? So that's why these don't need to get built out into crazy goals. Social. As I stated earlier, relationships are the bedrock of your life, right? Like your personal life, when that improves, that's always going to help your work. But when your work improves, that doesn't always help people's personal lives. There are a lot of people who their sole identity becomes their job. Now, you may think, well, that's not true. If I make more money and I do this, I'm going to get into a better circle. Guys, that's short-term thinking, right? And sure, a promotion can help ease some lifestyle concerns. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying make sure you take the time out of your busy day to call somebody when you're driving to work, to call somebody when you're on a walk. Again, don't always be intaking. You don't have to be busy all the time. You have to do the stuff that matters. I had a friend that, it was hard to get him on the phone for even 5 minutes, and he'd say, I don't have the time. I'd say, but there's definitely time where you're going to your car, you're coming from your car. I don't need much, but let's maintain this relationship. So whether that's calling a friend, whether that's making time to go have lunch with them, whether that's including them in a project, even calling them for their opinion on something. If you are one of those people that can't remove yourself from work, do something to fill that bucket. Financial. Now this is an interesting one, especially for the millennials out there. Guys, there are so many people that feel like they don't have enough money to invest or they don't have enough money to do X, Y, and Z. Listen, the financial side of this can be, did I put $5 in a savings account? Did I go through my bills? Did I make sure to get rid of some subscriptions I may not use anymore, whether that's Spotify or Netflix? Where are there leaks in the bucket? It doesn't have to be investing. It could be other forms of saving. It could be getting rid of some things that are kind of draining your financial resources, but do something to increase your financial threshold no matter what. My father was a stockbroker for a long time, and people would say, well, how much can I save? And he's like, literally anything. Don't ever let anybody convince you that even if you have $1 or $2, that's not enough. Just find something to move the needle there. And then finally, recreational. This was a jagged pill for me to swallow. There was a point in my life where I got rid of all video games, all distractions, all TVs, anything that I thought was fun, because I was so obsessed with, nope, 24/7, I've got to be productive. I've got to be learning. I've got to be intaking. I've got to be grinding. And you know where that left me? Without any kind of solutions for anything I wanted to do, and really perpetually unhappy. What I mean about solutions is when you're always taking in information, you're very rarely letting your brain turn off and incubate and think of ideas on its own. That's why, guys, those long warm showers or walks or hikes in nature, these things where we're kind of already relaxed, tend to produce thoughts and solutions. And this goes back all the way to the ancient Greeks. But there has to be this yin and this yang, this balance between intake and output. So it's really important that, for that to happen, do something fun. I used to feel guilty, like I said, doing something fun. Now I've identified some 3 things that no matter what anybody says about it, they help reset my brain and I can attack a task with new vigor. It's all right to have fun and lock those things in. So again, just to reorient the list, this is what I measure my success in a day by. That I do something each day that addresses this, no matter how big or how small. Quit comparing yourself to others. Quit comparing your lives to others. Quit trying to take these morning routines and productivity tips that 90% of the time are made up by people that aren't even doing these things, and thinking, oh man, if I don't accomplish this, if I don't read a book a week, write 500 pages a day and all these things, I'm screwed. No. Think of the things that matter in your life. Think of the things that are going to set you up for the long term. Think of the relationships and all these other pieces that you can cultivate, and that they all feed each other in this spectrum. Things like this are the ultimate to-do list. Guys, this is something that I hope you've enjoyed. I want to read your comments. Which one of these do you relate to most? Most importantly, which one of these have you neglected and that you feel like I need to definitely commit to? Lastly, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're going to bring lots more content like this. I always enjoy hearing from you guys. Thanks, and I hope this was helpful.